His wife walked past him in the hallway. She didn't recognize his face. Trevor Harrison stood there, dressed as a janitor, in his own company, and what he was about to overhear would destroy everything. She was on the phone. "Trevor's too stupid to notice. We will move the Gibraltar account data tonight." His wife, his brother, his company, all of it was a lie. This is the story of the man who became invisible to catch the two people he loved most betraying him. The mop bucket wheels squeaked against the polished floor. Trevor Harrison pushed the cart slowly down the hallway of Harrison Tech Solutions, his own company, dressed in a dark blue maintenance uniform. His wife, Nicole, walked past him talking on her phone, her heels clicking against the tile. She didn't even glance his way. "I'll handle it," Nicole said into her phone, her voice sharp and cold. "Trevor's too busy playing tech genius to notice anything. We moved the Gibraltar account data tonight." Trevor's grip tightened on the mop handle. Gibraltar Technologies was one of their biggest clients, a financial services company that trusted Harrison Tech with their most sensitive security protocols. If that data was being moved, it meant only one thing: someone was selling it. Nicole disappeared into the executive wing. Trevor stood frozen in the empty hallway, water dripping from his mop onto the floor he'd just cleaned. 3 weeks ago, he would have laughed if someone told him he'd be mopping floors in his own company, spying on his own wife. But strange things had been happening at Harrison Tech Solutions. Client data breaches that shouldn't be possible, security vulnerabilities appearing in systems he personally designed, and his wife coming home later and later each night. So he decided to find out the truth the only way he could, by becoming invisible. Now dressed as a janitor with contacts that changed his eye color and a beard he'd grown out, Trevor Harrison was about to discover that betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from the people you'd die for. 8 years earlier, everything was different. Trevor Harrison sat in his small office in Dorchester, looking at the lease agreement for a real office space in downtown Boston. At 33 years old, he had turned his small IT repair shop into something bigger. Harrison Tech Solutions, a cybersecurity company that was starting to attract serious clients. The office was cramped. 2 desks, outdated computers, and walls covered with network diagrams and security protocols. But it was his. He had built it from nothing, from the ground up, with his own hands and mind. His younger brother Damon sat across from him, eating Chinese takeout straight from the container. Damon was 26, fresh out of college with a business degree that Trevor had paid for. After their parents died in a car accident when Damon was 16, Trevor had become everything: brother, father, provider, protector. "I still can't believe you're doing this," Damon said, shaking his head. "Downtown Boston rent? That's crazy expensive." "We're ready," Trevor replied confidently. "I just landed the Meridian Health contract. That's $500,000 a year. We're moving up." Damon smiled, but something flickered in his eyes, something Trevor was too excited to notice. "We," Damon repeated. "You keep saying we, but this is your company, Trevor, your vision. I'm just along for the ride." "Don't say that. I couldn't do this without you. You handle all the business operations I hate. We're partners." "Partners," Damon said quietly, looking down at his food. "Right." 2 weeks later, Trevor hired Nicole Chen as a marketing consultant. She walked into their new downtown office wearing a navy suit, carrying a portfolio of case studies and marketing strategies. She was 27, confident, brilliant with words and presentation. She had worked for 2 major tech firms before going independent. But what struck Trevor most was her smile, warm and genuine. She made him feel seen in a way he hadn't felt since his parents died. "Your company has incredible potential," Nicole said during their first meeting, spreading out mock-ups and campaign ideas across the conference table. "You're solving real problems. We just need to tell that story better." Trevor was impressed. More than impressed. He was captivated. They worked late that first week, planning the rebrand of Harrison Tech Solutions. Nicole understood his vision immediately. She asked smart questions. She challenged his assumptions. She made him think bigger. On Friday night, after everyone else had gone home, They were still in the conference room, surrounded by empty coffee cups and papers. "Why cybersecurity?" Nicole asked. "Most tech guys want to build apps or start the next social media platform. Why focus on protection?" Trevor leaned back in his chair, considering whether to share. "My parents died because someone hacked into the traffic control system in our neighborhood, changed the timing on the lights. It was some kid playing around, testing his skills. Caused a chain reaction accident. 5 people died, including my mom and dad." Nicole's expression softened. "Trevor, I'm so sorry. I was 23. Damon was 16. I had to drop out of MIT to take care of him, to work, to keep us afloat. But I promised myself that I'd build something that protected people, that made systems safer, that kept what happened to us from happening to other families." "That's beautiful," Nicole said quietly. "That's the story we need to tell." From that moment, something shifted between them. The professional relationship became something more. They started having lunch together. Coffee breaks turned into long conversations. Working late became dinner dates. Damon noticed. Trevor could see it in the way his brother's face changed when Nicole entered a room, the way Damon found excuses to work late when she was there, the way he looked at her when he thought no one was watching. One night, 3 months after hiring Nicole, Trevor found Damon alone in the office break room. It was past midnight. Damon was staring at his phone, his face tight with some emotion Trevor couldn't quite read. "You okay?" Trevor asked. Damon looked up, startled. He quickly locked his phone. "Yeah, fine. Just tired." "You've been working too hard. Take a day off. Go do something fun." "Fun," Damon repeated with a bitter laugh. "Right. What's going on with you? You've been different lately." Damon stood up, his jaw clenched. "You really want to know? I think you're making a mistake with Nicole, mixing business and personal. It's going to blow up in your face." Trevor was surprised. "I didn't realize you felt that way. I thought you liked her." "I do. That's not the point." Damon grabbed his jacket and headed for the door. "Just be careful, Trevor. Not everyone is who they seem to be." He left before Trevor could respond. Despite Damon's warning, Trevor and Nicole grew closer. 6 months after they met, Trevor asked her to dinner at a restaurant overlooking Boston Harbor. The city lights reflected on the water like scattered diamonds. "I have something to tell you," Trevor said, his hands nervous on the table. "This probably breaks every HR rule, but I can't keep pretending this is just professional. Nicole, I'm falling for you." She smiled that warm smile that made his chest feel tight. "I was wondering when you'd say something. I've been falling for you since that first week." They were married 10 months later in a small ceremony at the Boston Public Library. Damon was Trevor's best man. He gave a toast about brotherhood and loyalty that made everyone cry. But Trevor noticed Damon barely looked at Nicole all night. He thought his brother was just being protective. He was wrong. Over the next 7 years, Harrison Tech Solutions exploded. Trevor's security systems became industry standard. Fortune 500 companies paid millions for his protection protocols. The company moved to a gleaming tower in the financial district. They hired over 200 employees. Revenue hit $50 million annually. Trevor made Damon vice president of operations with a generous salary and profit sharing. Nicole became vice president of client relations, the face of the company at industry events and conferences. On paper, everything was perfect. Trevor's corner office on the 12th floor overlooked Boston Common. The walls were covered with awards and patents, photos of him shaking hands with tech industry leaders, a framed article from Forbes titled The Guardian, How Trevor Harrison is Making the Internet Safer. But his favorite thing in the office was a small photo on his desk, him and Damon as kids, arms around each other at a park. Their parents had taken it 2 months before the accident. Trevor kept it there to remember why he did all of this. Family, protection, building something that lasted. Then 6 months ago, things started going wrong. It started with Meridian Health, the hospital network that had been Trevor's first major client. Their patient database was breached, thousands of records stolen, medical histories, social security numbers, everything. Trevor was devastated. He personally reviewed the security protocols. Everything should have been locked down tight, but somehow, someone had gotten in through a back door that shouldn't have existed. "I don't understand," Trevor told his lead security engineer, Marcus Chen. They were in the server room, reviewing logs at 2 a.m. "This vulnerability wasn't in my original design. Someone would have had to manually create this weakness." Marcus adjusted his glasses, his face grim. "Sir, this wasn't an accident. This was deliberate. Someone with administrator access created this back door 3 months ago." Trevor's blood went cold. "Who has administrator access?" "You, me, and Mr. Harrison, your brother." Trevor wanted to defend Damon immediately. His brother would never do this. Damon understood what this company meant. He knew the mission. He wouldn't sabotage clients. But then it happened again. Gibraltar Technologies, a financial services firm, suffered a data breach. Client account information was stolen and used in a coordinated fraud scheme. Millions of dollars were stolen from customer accounts. Then Nexcorp Manufacturing, then Silverman Legal Group. 4 major breaches in 4 months. All Harrison Tech clients. All companies that had trusted Trevor to protect them. The reputation he'd built over 8 years was crumbling. Trevor hired an outside forensic team to investigate. What they found made his stomach turn. The breaches weren't random attacks. They were coordinated from inside Harrison Tech. Someone was selling security vulnerabilities to hackers and competitors. Someone was literally telling criminals exactly how to break in. The forensic team traced the activity to 2 user accounts, Nicole's and Damon's. Trevor sat alone in his office at midnight reading the report. His hands shook. This couldn't be real. Not Nicole, not Damon, not the 2 people he loved most in the world. But the evidence was clear. Login times, file transfers, communications with known cybercriminal networks. It was all there in black and white. Trevor noticed other things too. Small things he'd ignored. Nicole had bought a new car, a Mercedes S-Class, far beyond what her salary should afford. She said it was a lease deal, a special promotion. Trevor had believed her. Damon had moved into a luxury apartment in Back Bay. When Trevor asked about it, Damon said he'd made good investments in crypto. Trevor had been proud of him. Nicole started traveling more. Client meetings in New York, conferences in San Francisco, networking events in Miami. Sometimes for 4 or 5 days at a time. Trevor was always too busy to join her. And Damon, his brother, who used to eat dinner with him every Sunday, started making excuses. Too busy, too tired, had other plans. They were pulling away from him, and he'd been too blind to see it. The worst part was wondering when it started. Was it recent? Had they been planning this for years? Had Nicole ever actually loved him, or was it always about access to his company? And Damon, his baby brother, the kid he'd raised, the teenager who cried in Trevor's arms after their parents' funeral, the young man Trevor had sacrificed everything for. How long had Damon been planning to destroy him? Trevor needed answers, but he couldn't just ask them. They'd deny everything. They'd cover their tracks. He needed evidence. He needed to see what they did when they thought he wasn't watching. That's when Trevor called Marcus Chen into his office for a private meeting. "I need your help with something," Trevor said. "And you can't tell anyone. Not your wife, not anyone on the team, no one." Marcus nodded slowly. "What do you need?" "I need to disappear." Marcus's eyes widened. "Sir, I need to go undercover in my own company, as a janitor, night shift. I need to see what's really happening when everyone thinks I'm not here." "That's dangerous, Mr. Harrison. If they find out..." "They won't. I've been growing my beard out for 2 months. I'll wear colored contacts, change my posture, my voice. I'll become someone completely different." "Why a janitor?" Trevor smiled grimly. "Because in tech companies, janitors are invisible. They have access to every floor, every office. They empty trash bins full of printed documents people thought they shredded. They clean server rooms. They hear conversations people don't think matter, and nobody pays attention to them. Nobody sees them." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "How long?" 2 weeks, maybe 3. Just long enough to gather evidence, to see the truth. And if the truth destroys you, then at least I'll know. Trevor spent the next week planning. He told Nicole he was flying to Tokyo for emergency meetings with a potential client, a Japanese automotive company considering a major contract. He'd be gone for 3 weeks, maybe 4. 3 weeks? Nicole asked. She was in their bedroom packing for a trip to Miami, some client event. She didn't even look disappointed. If anything, she looked relieved. I'm sorry, baby. I know the timing is bad. It's fine, she said quickly. I have that conference in Miami anyway. Then the Chicago Tech Summit. I'll be busy too. Trevor noticed she was packing expensive lingerie, designer dresses he'd never seen. She was going to a professional conference, but she was packing like she was going on a romantic vacation. That night, lying beside her in bed, Trevor wondered if this was the last time he'd sleep next to his wife. Tomorrow, he'd become someone else. He'd step into a different life to uncover the truth about this one. Nicole's phone buzzed on her nightstand. Trevor saw the screen light up, a text from D. The preview said, "Can't wait for Miami." Trevor's heart stopped. D. Damon. Nicole grabbed the phone quickly, deleted the notification, and rolled over. Within minutes, she was asleep. Or pretending to be. Trevor lay awake all night. The next morning, Trevor kissed Nicole goodbye. She barely looked up from her coffee. He drove to Logan Airport, parked in long-term parking, then took an Uber to a small, extended-stay hotel in Quincy. The room was basic, nothing like his house in Brookline, but it would be home for the next few weeks. That evening, he reported for his first shift as David Turner, a new night janitor hired through a temp agency. Marcus had arranged everything. The paperwork was perfect. The background check would show a clean record. Nothing traced back to Trevor Harrison. With brown contact lenses, a full beard, and thick-framed glasses, Trevor looked nothing like himself. He practiced walking with a slight limp. He changed his voice, speaking softer with a hint of a southern accent he'd picked up from his college roommate. The night supervisor, a tired-looking woman named Rita, showed him around. You'll be covering floors 9 through 12. That's the executive levels. Empty trash, vacuum, clean bathrooms, wipe down desks if people leave. Basic stuff. Yes, ma'am, Trevor replied in his practiced accent. You new to Boston? Yes, ma'am. Moved from Atlanta. Needed work. Rita nodded sympathetically. Well, work hard and you'll be fine. This is a good company. They treat people right. Just stay out of the way if folks are working late. These tech people work crazy hours. If only she knew who she was talking to. The first 3 nights were quiet. Trevor cleaned offices, including his own. It felt surreal to empty his own trash, to wipe down his own desk. He saw the framed photo of him and Damon. He had to turn away before emotion showed on his face. He observed his employees working late. Most were dedicated, honest people. Good people working hard. It made him proud. But it also made him angry. Someone was putting all these jobs at risk. Someone was destroying what they'd all built together. On the 4th night, Trevor was cleaning on the 10th floor when he heard voices in the conference room. It was almost 11 p.m. He recognized them immediately, Nicole and Damon. His heart started pounding. He pushed his cleaning cart closer to the conference room door, which was slightly ajar. Trevor's in Tokyo for 3 weeks, Nicole said. Her voice was cold, businesslike. Nothing like the warm tone she used at home. That gives us time to close the Harrington deal. Are you sure about this one? Damon asked. Harrington Industries is a defense contractor. If we sell their vulnerabilities to the wrong people, that's not just fraud. That's treason. Nicole laughed, sharp and harsh. Since when do you have a conscience? We've already sold out 4 companies. What's one more? Those were commercial companies. This is different. This is $2 million, Damon. That's different enough for me. Besides, we're almost done. 6 more months and we'll have enough to disappear. New identities, new country, new life, together. Trevor felt like the floor had dropped out from under him. Together. They were planning a life together. This wasn't just about money. This was about them. Nicole and Damon. His wife and his brother. Sometimes I feel guilty, Damon said quietly. He's my brother. He raised me. He gave me everything. He gave you scraps from his table, Nicole snapped. You're VP of operations, but you'll never be CEO. You'll never be the star. You'll always be Trevor's little brother, his charity case. That's not fair. Isn't it? He paid for your college like he was doing you a favor. He gave you a job like you should be grateful. He treats you like a child, not a partner. You said so yourself. There was silence. Then Damon spoke, his voice harder. You're right. I'm tired of being in his shadow. Tired of being the little brother. Tired of watching him get everything. Including me, Nicole added. Including you. Trevor's hands gripped the mop handle so hard his knuckles went white. He felt like he couldn't breathe. I wanted you first, Damon said. His voice cracked slightly. When you walked into that office 8 years ago, I saw you first. I was the one who found your consulting portfolio. I was the one who recommended Trevor hire you. But then he saw you and that was it. Trevor always gets what he wants. And you've been patient, Nicole said. Her voice softened. Trevor heard movement. He carefully peered around the corner and saw them. His wife in his brother's arms, kissing, the way she used to kiss him. Miami was perfect, Nicole murmured against Damon's lips. We should take more trips together. Soon we'll have all the time in the world. No more pretending, no more sneaking around. I'm tired of playing the devoted wife, Nicole said. Tired of sleeping next to him and pretending I don't wish it was you. Trevor turned away. He couldn't watch anymore. He pushed his cart down the hallway, vision blurred. He made it to the stairwell before his legs gave out. He sat on the concrete steps, head in his hands, and let himself feel it. The betrayal, the lies, the complete destruction of everything he believed in. His wife had never loved him. She'd been with his brother the whole time, every anniversary, every I love you, every intimate moment. It was all a lie while she wished she was with Damon. And Damon, his baby brother, the kid he'd raised, the teenager he'd comforted through nightmares, the young man he'd put through college. Damon had wanted Nicole first, had been in love with her from the beginning, and Trevor had unknowingly taken her. But that didn't justify this. Nothing justified this. After 20 minutes, Trevor pulled himself together. He couldn't fall apart. Not yet. Not where someone might see. He had a job to do. Over the next 10 days, Trevor documented everything. Marcus had given him a tiny camera hidden in his name badge and a recording device disguised as a phone. Trevor wore them every shift. He recorded conversations. He photographed documents left on desks and in trash bins. He discovered email printouts with detailed security protocols being sent to offshore email addresses. He found financial records showing money moving through shell corporations. Every piece of evidence was sent encrypted to Marcus's personal computer. They were building an airtight case. Trevor discovered the affair had started 5 years ago. Not recently. 5 years. Nicole had been sleeping with his brother for most of their marriage. They'd been careful at first. Hotel rooms in different cities, burner phones. But as time went on, and Trevor never suspected, they got bolder. The embezzlement started 3 years ago. Small amounts at first. 10,000 here, 20,000 there. Hidden in consulting fees and vendor payments. Then it grew. They created fake companies, phantom employees. The money flowed out of Harrison Tech and into offshore accounts. But the real money came from selling secrets. They'd started by selling client lists to competitors, then security assessments, then actual vulnerabilities. They were literally telling criminals and rival companies exactly how to break into the systems Trevor had designed to be unbreakable. The Meridian health breach that exposed patient data? Nicole and Damon had sold the backdoor access for $300,000. Gibraltar Technologies? $500,000. They'd made over $4 million in 3 years. And they were planning to make another $2 million from the Harrington Industries deal before disappearing. But there was something else Trevor discovered. Something that made everything worse. On his 11th night undercover, Trevor was cleaning Damon's office. It was 2 a.m. The building was empty except for security and cleaning staff. Trevor went through Damon's desk drawers carefully, photographing everything. In the bottom drawer, under folders and old contracts, he found a small leather journal. Trevor opened it and started reading. It was Damon's personal diary. The entries went back 8 years. The first one was dated 2 weeks before Nicole was hired. Found the perfect consultant to help with marketing. Her name is Nicole Chen. She's beautiful, smart, exactly what Trevor needs. Maybe if I bring her in, she'll see me as valuable, see me as more than just Trevor's little brother. 3 weeks later. Trevor hired Nicole, but he's interested in her. I can tell. He gets that look. I should have known. Trevor always wins. 6 months later. They're dating. Of course they are. I introduce them and he takes her. Story of my life. I give him the idea and he gets the glory. I find the perfect woman and he gets the girl. 1 year later. They're engaged. I have to smile and pretend I'm happy. Have to give a speech about how perfect they are together. But inside I'm dying. Every day I see her and know she should have been mine. Trevor's hands shook as he read. Page after page of his brother's resentment, his jealousy, his growing hatred. He thinks he saved me. He thinks he's my hero. But he stole my childhood. Mom and Dad died and suddenly I'm Trevor's project, his responsibility. I never asked for that. I never asked to be his burden. Sometimes I hate him. He got to go to MIT. He got to have dreams. I had to live in his shadow. Everything I do is compared to him. Everything I achieve is because of him. I'm so tired of being grateful. Nicole understands. We talked for hours last night while Trevor was in Seattle. She married him for the company, for the lifestyle. She admitted it. She said she respects him but doesn't love him. Not the way she could love someone else. Not the way she could love me. That entry was from 4 years ago, before the affair started. The next entry. It happened. Nicole and I. We crossed the line. Trevor was in London for that conference. She came over to drop off some files. We started talking. Then we were kissing. Then everything else. I should feel guilty. I don't. She should have been mine from the beginning. Trevor closed the journal. He couldn't read anymore. He photographed every page, then carefully put it back exactly where he found it. He left Damon's office and went to the men's bathroom. He locked himself in a stall and let the tears come, silent, but deep. The kind of crying that comes from a place of complete devastation. His brother had resented him for years, had hated him for saving him, for raising him, for succeeding. Everything Trevor had done out of love, Damon had seen as oppression, and Nicole had never loved him. She'd married him for his company, for his success, for the lifestyle she wanted. She'd been plotting with Damon from the beginning. After 30 minutes, Trevor washed his face and went back to work. 2 more nights, and he'd have everything he needed. On his final night undercover, Trevor was cleaning the executive floor when Nicole and Damon appeared together. It was past midnight. The building was nearly empty. They went into Trevor's office, his office. Trevor watched through the glass wall as Damon sat in his chair, put his feet up on his desk, picked up the framed photo of them as kids and stared at it. "Do you ever feel bad?" Damon asked. Nicole was leaning against the desk. "Sometimes, for about 5 seconds. Then I remember the prenup I signed. 7 years of my life, and if I divorce him, I get almost nothing, unless I can prove he was abusive or cheating. He made sure I couldn't leave without losing everything. He was protecting himself. He was controlling me. Everything in our life is his. The house, the cars, the bank accounts. I have a salary, but it's nothing compared to what he has. I've been a good wife for 7 years, and what do I have to show for it? Nothing that's truly mine." Trevor's jaw tightened. He'd put the prenup in place because his lawyer insisted. After building his company from nothing, he needed to protect it. But he'd given Nicole everything else. Credit cards with no limits. A generous salary for a job that didn't require much work. A beautiful home. Everything she wanted. It was never enough. 3 more weeks, Damon said. We close the Harrington deal, transfer the last of the money, then we disappear. Where should we go? Nicole asked. I'm thinking Bali, or maybe Portugal. Somewhere we can start over. Somewhere without extradition treaties, Damon added with a dark laugh. They kissed again, long and slow, in Trevor's chair, in Trevor's office, surrounded by everything Trevor had built. Trevor turned away. He'd seen enough. Tomorrow, everything would change. The next morning, Trevor returned to his house in Brookline. He'd showered at the hotel, removed the beard with clippers and a razor, taken out the contacts. Trevor Harrison, CEO, was back. Nicole was in the kitchen making coffee. She was wearing one of his old MIT t-shirts. She looked up when he entered and her face went pale for just a second before she recovered. "Trevor, you're early. I thought you weren't coming back until Friday." The Tokyo deal closed faster than expected. They loved the proposal. She walked over and kissed his cheek. Her lips felt like ice. "I'm so proud of you." Trevor studied her face. How had he missed the coldness behind her eyes, the calculation in every smile? "How was your week?" he asked. "Quiet. Boring without you." She turned back to her coffee. "I missed you." Lies. All lies. That evening, Trevor called an emergency board meeting for the next morning. 9 a.m., all board members, all senior executives, mandatory attendance. At 8:30 a.m., Trevor arrived at Harrison Tech Solutions. His assistant, Jessica, looked surprised. "Sir, you weren't supposed to be back until Friday." "Plans changed. Is everyone here?" "Yes, sir. Everyone's confused about the emergency meeting." "They'll understand soon." At 8:45, Trevor walked into his office. Marcus Chen was already there with a laptop and 3 storage drives. "Everything's ready," Marcus said quietly. "All the footage, all the recordings, all the financial evidence, it's airtight." "Thank you, Marcus, for everything. Are you ready for this?" Trevor took a deep breath. "I've been ready since the moment I saw them together." At 9 o'clock, Trevor walked into the large conference room. The entire board was there. 10 members, some of the most respected business leaders in Boston. His senior executives filled the other seats, 20 people total. Nicole sat on the left side of the table, looking confident in a black suit. Damon sat near the front, relaxed. They'd clearly decided Trevor had no idea about anything. "Thank you all for coming on short notice," Trevor began. He stood at the head of the table, hands in his pockets. Calm. Controlled. "I'm sure you're wondering why I called this emergency meeting." "We were surprised to hear you were back from Tokyo," said Richard Chen, the board chairman. "I thought you were gone for 3 more weeks." "I was never in Tokyo." The room went silent. Nicole and Damon exchanged a quick glance. "I don't understand," Richard said. Trevor pressed a button on the remote in his pocket. The large screen on the wall came to life. Security camera footage began playing. It showed Nicole and Damon in the conference room. The audio was crystal clear. "Trevor's in Tokyo for 3 weeks. That gives us time to close the Harrington deal." "Are you sure about this one?" "Harrington Industries is a defense contractor. If we sell their vulnerabilities to the wrong people, that's not just fraud. That's treason." The color drained from both their faces. Nicole gripped the edge of the table. Damon sat frozen. The video continued. More conversations, more evidence, them discussing the offshore accounts, the shell companies, the money they'd stolen. Then the footage shifted. It showed them kissing in Trevor's office. In the parking garage, time stamps going back years. "How?" Nicole whispered. Trevor pulled off his suit jacket. Underneath, he wore a blue maintenance uniform shirt. "You were right, Nicole," Trevor said quietly. "The cleaning staff is invisible. Nobody pays attention to the janitor mopping the floor. Nobody thinks twice about the maintenance guy emptying trash cans. They see everything. They hear everything. And nobody thinks they matter." Damon stood up suddenly. "This is entrapment. You can't—" "Sit down." Trevor's voice was ice. "In my own company, in spaces where security monitoring is clearly posted, in areas where every employee signs consent forms. This is all completely legal, and you know it because you helped write those policies." Marcus stood and distributed folders to each board member. Inside, you'll find complete documentation, financial records showing embezzlement totaling $4.2 million, communication records showing the sale of proprietary security protocols to competitors and criminal networks, evidence of at least 7 major client breaches that were deliberately caused by Mr. Damon Harrison and Mrs. Nicole Harrison. Trevor pressed another button. More footage played, Nicole and Damon discussing the affair, planning their future together, laughing about how stupid Trevor was, how easy it was to fool him. Richard Chen, the board chairman, looked devastated. "Trevor, I am so sorry. If we had known—" "You couldn't have known. They were careful, but not careful enough." "This is insane," Nicole said. Her voice was rising. "Trevor, you can't do this. We can explain. This is all a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Trevor's voice rose for the first time. Years of hurt poured out. "You've been sleeping with my brother for 5 years. You've been stealing from this company for 3 years. You've sold security vulnerabilities that led to patient data being stolen, financial fraud, identity theft. People were hurt because of what you did. Real people, families, and you did it for money, for greed." He turned to Damon. His voice dropped to something cold and quiet. "And you, my brother, the kid I raised, the teenager I held when you had nightmares about mom and dad. I paid for your education. I gave you a job. I gave you profit sharing. I treated you like a partner, and you've hated me the whole time." Damon's face twisted. "You want to know the truth? Fine. I did hate you. I've always hated you. You think you saved me? You trapped me. After mom and dad died, I became your project, your responsibility. Everything I did was because of you. Everything I achieved was because you let me. I was never my own person, just Trevor's little brother, Trevor's charity case." "I loved you," Trevor said. "Everything I did was because I loved you." "I never asked for your love," Damon shouted. "I never asked you to sacrifice for me. And then when I finally found someone I cared about, someone who saw me, you took her too. Like you take everything. Like the world revolves around you and everyone else just exists in your orbit." "I didn't take Nicole. She chose me, or I thought she did." "She chose your money," Damon spat. "She chose your company. She told me that the first time we were together. She married you for what you had, not who you were. At least with me, it's real." Nicole stood up. "Both of you, stop. Trevor, yes, we made mistakes. Yes, we were wrong. But you're not innocent either. You're a workaholic who ignored your wife for years. You're a controlling brother who kept Damon dependent on you. You created this situation." Trevor looked at her. Really looked at her. "I worked hard to build something that protected people. Something that honored my parents' memory. And yes, maybe I worked too much. Maybe I should have been home more. But that doesn't justify what you did. That doesn't justify stealing, lying, putting innocent people at risk." He turned back to the board. "I'm not asking what to do with them. I'm telling you what I've already done. I've contacted the FBI. They're opening a criminal investigation into the theft of trade secrets and the sale of defense contractor information. That's a federal crime. Our attorneys have also filed civil suits for breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, and theft." "You're going to destroy us," Nicole said. Her voice cracked. Mascara started running down her face. "No," Trevor said quietly. "You destroyed yourselves. I'm just making sure you face the consequences." Trevor pressed one more button. Audio played through the speakers. Damon's voice from his journal entries. Trevor had recorded himself reading them aloud as evidence. "He thinks he saved me. He thinks he's my hero. But he stole my childhood. I hate him. He got to go to MIT. He got to have dreams. I had to live in his shadow. Nicole and I, we crossed the line. She should have been mine from the beginning." The board members looked shocked, horrified. Several shook their heads in disbelief. Richard Chen stood. "Mr. Damon Harrison, Mrs. Nicole Harrison, effective immediately, you are both terminated from Harrison Tech Solutions. Your access to all systems is revoked. Security will escort you from the building. Your equity stakes are forfeit per the morality clauses in your contracts. You will be hearing from our legal team." 2 security guards appeared at the door. Nicole looked at Trevor one last time. "I hope you're happy. I hope destroying us was worth it." "I didn't destroy you," Trevor replied. "You destroyed yourselves. I just refuse to let you destroy my company and hurt more innocent people in the process." "You'll regret this," Damon said. His voice was shaking with rage. "You've always thought you were better than everyone. Perfect Trevor who can do no wrong. But you're alone now. No wife, no brother, no family. Was it worth it?" Trevor met his brother's eyes. "I have my integrity. I have my company. I have employees whose jobs you almost destroyed. I have clients who trusted me. That's worth more than a brother who hated me and a wife who never loved me." As security led them both out, Nicole was crying. Damon walked with his head down, refusing to look at anyone. The conference room was silent after they left. Richard Chen approached Trevor. "I can't imagine what you're going through. If you need time—" "I need to work," Trevor said. "I need to rebuild trust with our clients. I need to fix the damage they caused. I need to focus on what matters." Before we continue with what happened next, I want to take a moment to remind you to subscribe to my channel and hit that like button. This story gets even more intense, and you won't want to miss what happens in the aftermath of this confrontation. Share this video with your friends and family. Trust me, the way this unfolds will leave you speechless. Now let's get back to the story. Over the next 3 months, Trevor worked 18-hour days. He personally called every client who had been breached. He apologized. He explained what had happened. He offered free security audits and system upgrades. Some clients left anyway. Others appreciated his honesty and stayed. The FBI investigation moved forward. Nicole and Damon were both arrested. The evidence was overwhelming. Financial records, recorded conversations, email trails, the journal, everything. They tried to make deals. Nicole's lawyer claimed she was manipulated by Damon. Damon's lawyer claimed Nicole was the mastermind. The prosecutors weren't interested. Trevor had made it clear he wanted no mercy shown. Nicole was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison for wire fraud, theft of trade secrets, and conspiracy. Her appeals failed. The prenup meant she got nothing in the divorce. No house, no cars, no money. She left with exactly what she'd brought into the marriage. Nothing. Damon's case was more complicated. As Trevor's brother, as someone Trevor had raised and loved, the situation drew media attention. Talk shows debated whether Trevor was too harsh. Some people thought he should have shown mercy to family. Trevor didn't care what they thought. But ultimately, because Damon cooperated with investigators and because he had no prior criminal record, he got a lighter sentence. 3 years probation, massive fines, and restitution payments that would take him decades to pay off. Trevor made sure Damon's equity in the company was seized and sold. Every dollar went to compensating the clients who had been harmed. But Trevor did something else, something nobody expected. He didn't press for prison time. He didn't fight when Damon's lawyer negotiated probation, because prison would have been easier. Prison would have been shelter, food, routine. Instead, Trevor made sure Damon left with nothing. No money. No job prospects with a fraud conviction on his record. No references. No network. The tech industry blacklisted him. Trevor could have helped. One word from him could have opened doors. He said nothing. Damon lost his luxury apartment, lost his car, lost everything he'd bought with stolen money. Within 6 months, Trevor heard through mutual acquaintances that Damon was living in a cheap motel in Worcester, working as a night clerk at a convenience store. A year later, someone told Trevor they'd seen Damon homeless, panhandling outside South Station. Trevor felt nothing. No satisfaction. No guilt. Just emptiness where his brother used to be. Marcus Chen found him in his office late one night, staring at that old photo of him and Damon as kids. "You should throw that away," Marcus said gently. "Maybe," Trevor replied. "Or maybe I keep it to remember that the people we love can hurt us the most. That trust is earned, not given. That family isn't just blood. It's loyalty, honesty, and love. And some people are incapable of those things." "Have you heard from him?" "No, and I won't. He made his choices. Now he lives with them." "No regrets?" Trevor was quiet for a long moment. I regret trusting them. I regret not seeing the signs. I regret wasting years of my life on people who were using me. But I don't regret holding them accountable. Some people think I should have forgiven Damon because he's family. But family doesn't betray you like that. Family doesn't destroy everything you built. He stopped being my brother the moment he decided to destroy me. 2 years after everything fell apart, Trevor had rebuilt Harrison Tech Solutions into something stronger. The company's reputation had actually improved. Clients respected a CEO who took security and ethics seriously enough to turn in his own wife and brother. Trevor himself had changed. He was more cautious now, more careful about who he trusted. He questioned motives. He watched actions instead of listening to words. Success came easier, but connection came harder. He dated occasionally, but nothing serious. Every relationship felt like a risk. Every "I love you" sounded like a potential lie. The armor he'd built around himself was thick and high. On a rainy Thursday evening, Trevor attended a cybersecurity conference at the Boston Convention Center. He was giving a keynote speech about corporate security and insider threats. The irony wasn't lost on him. After his speech, a woman approached him. She was in her late 30s, wearing a simple navy dress, carrying a worn messenger bag. She had kind eyes and a careful smile. "Mr. Harrison, I'm Dr. Simone Baptiste. I teach computer science at Northeastern." That was a powerful talk. "Thank you, Dr. Baptiste. Please call me Simone. I actually wanted to talk to you about something. I run a program that teaches coding and cybersecurity to formerly incarcerated people, helping them build skills so they can get jobs when they get out. I was hoping Harrison Tech might consider hiring some of our graduates." Trevor was surprised. "That's a bold ask." "I know, but these are people who made mistakes and paid for them. They deserve a second chance. And honestly, some of them are incredibly talented. They just need someone to believe in them." Trevor thought about Nicole in prison, about Damon wandering homeless, about second chances and whether everyone deserved them. "Send me information about your program," Trevor said. "I'll consider it." Simone smiled. It was genuine. "Thank you. That's all I ask." Over the next 6 months, Trevor and Simone communicated regularly about her program. He visited her classes, met her students, heard their stories, people who had stolen, defrauded, hacked, and served their time, people trying to rebuild. Trevor hired 3 of them, not out of charity, but because they were qualified, because they'd earned it, and because Simone had shown him that not everyone who betrays trust is irredeemable. Some people change, some people grow. Simone challenged him in ways no one else did. She called him out when he was too cynical. She pushed back when he was too harsh. She reminded him that being hurt didn't mean he had to stay broken. 3 years after his world collapsed, Trevor stood in a small coffee shop in Cambridge on a Saturday morning. Simone sat across from him, reviewing resumes of potential candidates for his company. "You've changed," she said, looking up from the papers. "Have I? When I met you 2 years ago, you were angry, closed off. Now you're softer, more open." Trevor smiled. "I had a good teacher. I didn't teach you anything. I just reminded you who you were before they broke you." That evening, as Trevor drove home, he thought about everything he'd lost and everything he'd gained. Nicole was still in prison. Damon was somewhere in the city, lost and broken. The family he'd built was gone. But he'd built something else, a company with real values, friendships based on mutual respect, a relationship with Simone that was growing into something real and honest. He'd learned to see people clearly, to trust carefully, to value actions over words. The CEO who disguised himself as a janitor had learned that sometimes you have to become invisible to see the truth. And sometimes the truth destroys everything so you can build something better. Trevor never spoke to his brother again, and he was okay with that. Because some betrayals don't deserve forgiveness, some people don't deserve second chances, and walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. My beautiful people, thank you for watching this emotional story. If it touched your heart, please like this video so more people can learn from it. And if you're new here, hit subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Don't miss any of our powerful stories. Before you leave, tell me in the comments, what part of today's story touched you the most? Your comments help the channel grow and bring more stories your way. See you in the next emotional journey.